Good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, April 15th. I'm John Weigell here with Sara Friedman, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. College athletes weren't always able to make money, but now they can't seem to stop it. The Supreme Court opened the floodgates in 2021, allowing college athletes to start raking in cash from brand deals, sponsorships, and much more. But now this is an industry, and new startups are smelling a big payday. So how did this happen, and who's making millions off of it? We'll chat about that in a bit, but first let's give you the news in business and tech. To start us off today, Pfizer is scrapping development of its daily GLP-1 weight loss drug after a patient in one of its trials experienced a liver injury. It's a setback in Pfizer's race to join the GLP-1 industry, estimated to top $150 billion by the early 2030s, thanks to Novo Nordisk. From there, we go to NVIDIA. NVIDIA is boosting their U.S. manufacturing game. I wonder why. The company on Monday announced it has over 1 million square feet of manufacturing space to create and troubleshoot AI chips in both Arizona and Texas. Shout out to the tariffs. And Sara, what do you make of this NVIDIA news, moving some manufacturing back to the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, obviously with everything going on with tariffs, not super shocking to see this in the news, but this is part of the company's promise to produce up to $500 billion of AI infrastructure in the country. And to help design and operate the plants, they're planning to create digital twins, which we've talked about before, of factories and use robots for automation. So they're really putting everything into high drive. And also notably, this is just one of the many companies that has promised specifically $500 billion. We saw this from Apple. We saw this from OpenAI with its Stargate project. I just think it's kind of notable that somehow a sum that huge has started to feel normal in regards to US investment. But yeah, this is yet another $500 billion project coming our way.
Yeah, seems to be the magic number nowadays.
Exactly.
Next, a survey of over 300 CEOs found that 62% expect a recession or other economic hurdle in the next 6 months, of course. This is up from 48% last month as uncertainty mounts surrounding, you guessed it again, tariffs. From there, we go to Sam's Club. The Walmart-owned retailer intends to open 15 new stores per year, plus remodel its about 600 existing stores, while CEO Chris Nichols expects membership sales and profit to double over the next 8 to 10 years, and that's per retail dive. And finally, Chic-Fil-A is still on top of the fast food game. A semi-annual survey published by Piper Sandler covering over 13,500 teens in 47 states found that Chick-fil-A is the favorite restaurant among teens and has held that spot since 2018. A bit dry for my taste, but okay, fine. On to the main story today. College athletes didn't get paid for quite a long time, but in the last 4 years or so, some are raking in tons. More than me, more than you, maybe. Sara, can we first talk about how exactly these college athletes are getting paid so much? What is the origin of this?
Yeah, so historically, for a long time, college athletes weren't allowed to profit off of their names, image, and likeness, and they forfeited their right to do so when they would sign with a college team. Mm-hmm. So that all actually very recently changed. In 2021, the Supreme Court ruled that refusing to let college athletes earn name, image, and likeness income violated antitrust laws. And it's still in some ways ongoing today. There's a case called the House versus NCAA, and that's still underway in California. And it's 3 antitrust cases that have been lumped together. But essentially, a judge is deliberating whether or not $2.8 billion in damages needs to go to former and current D1 athletes. And in the future, if colleges should be able to pay players directly for the use of their name, image, and likeness.
Wow.
If that happens, they would be given specific budgets and caps to kind of regulate this whole new industry. But this is all, as I said, just happening since 2021. So before this, it wasn't even a conversation.
Wow. I mean, that's a huge amount, the $2.8 billion. It sounds like it's pretty much like a back pay or like an I'm sorry to people that have already been college athletes but didn't get the same opportunities as people are now today in sports. So That's really exciting for former players that may have thought like, oh, wow, it would have been nice to have a Nike sponsorship when I was actively playing. But yeah, so this is becoming a big industry, right? We're throwing around billions of dollars here back and forth, not $500 billion as noted earlier, but, billions of some capacity. That means, as you've noted here, that there are some startups trying to get into the game. So can you talk to me about these startups? What are they trying to do? How would they ever profit from something like this?
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. The NIL industry is estimated to be worth $1.6 billion. And there are definitely startups trying to get in on that. So one in particular, I think, is leading in the space. It's called Opendoors, and it's raised already $40 million total in funding. And essentially it pairs student athletes with brand deals to make this whole process easier. And that's because, first of all, most college athletes don't have agents. These are young adults and, right. Sometimes teenagers. So they don't have the team to help them vet offers from brands to handle contracts. So this is a way to facilitate that. And essentially, athletes can download the app. It's free on their end. They can apply directly to brand deals and they can get paid all within the app. And then on the other side, it allows brands to search for student athletes by their sport or filter by university. And then the company charges the brands about 10% of the deal for using the platform.
Wow. So it's a pretty smart idea because, as you said, these athletes don't exactly have access to that representation, or maybe not yet. So this app is doing a great job, I think, at kind of getting in the door early, it seems. And is it working for them? What's their business look like? I mean, it's pretty new, but how many users do they have? What's the story about it?
Yeah, so the company is saying now it has 150,000 athletes using the platform, and 115,000 of those athletes are still in college. And the dollar value of deals booked through Opendoors increased by 50 between 2020 and 2024 and hit $100 million. So again, I think they're the front runner in this space and one of the major players. So I think they're seeing most of the traction here, but those numbers are proving that there is absolutely an appetite for this from student athletes.
Yeah, and it seems very similar to the influencer agency type model of influencer agencies who find influencers, get them sponsorships, get them work, and then take some sort of percentage out of it. So you mentioned Opendoors right off the bat. Are there any others in this industry that you've noticed, or are they kind of the primary player here?
Yeah, so interestingly, on the tail of that Supreme Court ruling in 2021, there were hundreds of startups flocking to the NIL space, and very few are left standing. Opendoors itself estimated that the number of NIL-related companies went from maybe around 250 in 2022 to only 40 today.
Wow.
So they definitely have kind of, outlasted the competition here. And I think it's a testament to the fact that this seems to be a hard space to compete in. Everyone thought that this would be an easy win. Apparently not the case. But yeah, it's very worthwhile to chase this industry. As we said, it's estimated to be worth billions. That number might grow. And some of these student athletes, are making many millions of dollars. So taking a 10% cut of these brand deals is a very lucrative opportunity.
That's pretty crazy to me that you can be a college athlete nowadays, make all that money and not even have to go pro anymore, it seems.
Right.
And one of the examples you cited here is a gymnast from LSU that pulled in almost $10 million. And I'm thinking like, oh man, how much do Olympic athletes really make? I don't think they can scratch that necessarily unless they're insane sponsorship deals. So maybe this is a new path for athletes to make a lot of money kind of early on and then dictate the rest of their lives and careers. Like, sports like cycling and others don't exactly pay the most unless you're in the top 0.0001%. So it's an exciting way for them to make money. And I'm quite happy that the Supreme Court allowed them to make money because, they're athletes, they're personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems only fair that they can profit literally off of their own faces. And these are things that they should own in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think we might see some very young people getting very wealthy through these brand deals. Obviously, it's just, the very top percent.
Sure.
I don't want to make it sound as though all of these student athletes are paying off their tuition off of this, but I think it's an exciting opportunity for a few of them.
Yeah, agreed. All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at thehustledaily. We will see you tomorrow.